What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Nash here. Welcome back to the channel. And excuse me, let's be real, 2024 was insane. It was an insane year for WWE as they delivered not only some of the best talent that they had to offer this year, but also showcasing literally some of the best matches, some of the all-time greatest matches that were 5-star instant classics. And since today is the final video of 2024, I figure we go out of 2024 with a bang and end the year with a top 10 of the best matches of 2024. And before we get started, I do want to say to all of you guys who not only have subscribed to the channel just this year alone, but also to those who have been watching the content since day one, since I started this channel almost 10 years ago. Thank you guys. I know that I'm more of a smaller content creator and all, and I totally get it. I've accepted it, but you guys have been awesome. I love you guys. Thank you guys. And if you guys thought that the content from 2024 was crazy, 2025 will be just as, because there is a lot of WWE news to bring up, a lot of brand new cards to talk about, including coming out of sets such as Alliance Insight, and even also Duelist Advance, which that says gonna be nasty. And yeah, so if you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more of the content that you have seen already, then make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, smash that thumbs up button. And as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And since this is the final video of 2024, today's question of the day is this: what was your favorite moment, your favorite WWE moment of 2024? And what are your guys' New Year's resolutions for 2025? Let me know down in the comments below. And I'm actually thinking about doing a Q&A sometime this week. I don't know if I will or not, but if you guys have any questions that you want to ask me, be sure to let me know down in the comments below. I am very curious of what questions you have for me. It could be Yu-Gi-Oh related, it could be WWE related. It could be something to do with the channel, something with my personal life. You can ask me anything. There is nothing, literally, there's no limit to what questions you can ask me. But obviously you guys know with the YouTube algorithm, gotta show a little bit of respect, obviously. But with that being said, again, if you guys have any questions for me, let me know down in the comments below. And what is in my face? Sorry guys, I feel like there's something on my face. Anyway, let's kick this top 10 off with some honorable mentions. And the first one up is Rhea Ripley versus Becky Lynch for the Women's World Title on night 1 of WrestleMania 40. I know what you guys are thinking. You guys are probably thinking, wait a minute, this should be a part of the top 10 list. Yes, I do agree with you guys, but the thing is that I feel like, in my opinion, this match was a bit rushed, kind of like the match that Jey Uso had with his twin Jimmy, on night 1 of WrestleMania. And Interestingly enough, the last time Rhea and Becky went one-on-one, it was back in NXT all the way back in 2019, and it's weird. It's weird because while that match didn't really have a conclusion, this was the match that Rhea needed to win. Becky didn't need the match. She wanted the match. There's a massive difference, and she wanted the match to prove that she was still the man, that she was still the best in the game. But this match basically proved that Rhea will always be number one in the women's division, with or without a championship. But I think the match itself was a bit too rushed, and if I remember correctly, when I did the results of both nights on that Sunday, I think I gave this match, I think, what 3.5 stars if I remember correctly. I could be wrong. You guys can watch that video back and let me know in the comments, because I'm pretty sure I gave it 3.5 stars. But still I think it was rushed, and I think it just proved that there definitely needed to be some change into the women's division in WWE, and I think Triple H taking over WWE was that change, in my honest opinion. But the next honorable mention, since we are on the topic of WrestleMania, Bayley versus Io Sky for the WWE Women's title on night 2 of WrestleMania 40. This was actually pretty good. The only issue that I have is that... Sorry guys, hitting my tripod. The only issue that I have is that this was not the main event. I'm being real. I'm being real. This match should have been the main event. And while it is true that I agree with Roman Reigns on the fact that he should be in the main event of all PLEs that he does, he also has to understand that, and even for us as the fans, we know that when you're a champion, it's not just about you. It's about you showing the world why you deserve to hold on to that championship, no matter what title it is, whether it's the tag team titles, the US title, the IC title, the world title, the NXT title, the North American title, the Heritage Cup. It doesn't matter. You want that title. You won that title. Now you need to prove to the world that why you should remain champion. And Roman Reigns had proved that for almost 4 years. And interestingly enough, this was actually This was actually a good way for Bayley to truly establish herself as a legend in WWE, in spite of being in WWE for less than 10 years. And I think honestly, it should have been the main event, but I'm glad that they actually had this match come to pass, because this was basically former Damage Control members going at it, not for grudges, not for anything like that, mainly to see who is the best. And I think even in spite of Bayley winning, I think that match proved that Io Sky is the best. But why do I believe that this is in the honorable mentions? Well, simple. I think simple. As much as I loved to see Bayley win the women's Royal Rumble earlier this year, back in January, I still feel like someone else should have been the one to take the title off of her. That's not Bayley. If anything, I feel like it should have been someone like maybe I don't know. I don't know, as crazy as it sounds, I feel like it should have been someone like maybe like I would say Jade Cargill, but that was her first match in WWE, so it could have been like, it could have been anybody. It could literally even have been um perhaps like maybe Tiffany Stratton at best. I feel like Tiffany could have been the one to do it, but there's really no telling when she'll ever cash in Money in the Bank. I don't think she will. I don't think she knows how the briefcase works, but still, I think somebody else definitely should have won the Royal Rumble and gone on to WrestleMania. But I'm glad that it was Bayley. But still, again, just like the women's world title, this one I feel like was also a little bit rushed, just because of the fact that they needed to make some extra room for the match between Cody and Roman, which obviously became the main event. But coming in at the final honorable mention, and this was actually this was actually a request from not only from a fan, but also from a subscriber who messaged me on Instagram. Shout outs to him. He knows who he is. It is All Ego Ethan Page versus Joe Hendry for the NXT Championship at No Mercy back in October. And what I find so interesting is that this was one of the clear-cut cases of what NXT is trying to do by collabing with TNA, and that's by having some of TNA's talent challenge for WWE Gold on WWE soil. And I think, honestly, as crazy as it sounds, even in spite of losing, I think this match proved that Joe Hendry definitely deserves to be in WWE. But there have been a lot of chatter that Joe Hendry actually signed another like 2 or 3 another deal with TNA. I think to like maybe another like 2 years or 3 years or something like that. So it's going to be a while. Before we see Joe in WWE full time. But I think, honestly, this was indeed a solid match, but the way it ended was a bit too abrasive, I guess, if you will. If my memory serves correct, I actually want to look back. Yeah, I thought so. So as I'm reading my book here, Paige actually hit Hendry with a low blow and an ego's edge to retain the NXT title, and interestingly enough, because that Trick Williams was the special guest referee, he also got jumped by Pete Dunne. So I feel like if there was one person that should have won the NXT title, even in spite of Trick Williams being the guest referee, excuse me, it definitely should have been Joe Hendry, but I think this match proves that Joe Hendry belongs in WWE. For him, it was more of a what's the term? Oh my god, there's the term for it. This was more of a prove yourself type of match for Joe Hendry, and he literally proved to the entire WWE universe that Joe Hendry belongs in WWE, and I think he made the entire WWE believe in Joe Hendry. And as crazy as it sounds, even I do. Even I believe in Joe Hendry. Say his name and he appears. But with that being said, we now move into the top 10, and we kick things off at number 10 with Trick Williams versus Carmelo Hayes, Stand and Deliver 2024 on the eve of night 1 of WrestleMania 40. Interestingly enough, this was a very historic match because of a few things. Number one, this was actually the first time that Trick Williams was actually main eventing a massive NXT PLE that wasn't a PLE like Vengeance Day or something like New Year's Evil. This was Stand and Deliver. This was one of the biggest cards in NXT history. Like, literally, I think almost all the championships in NXT were defended that night. In fact, let me go back to my card. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4. So almost all of the championships, with the exception of the Heritage Cup, were all defended at Stand and Deliver. Again, this was literally one of the most stacked cards in the entire year. Like, you had Ilya Dragunov versus Tony D'Angelo for the NXT title. You had the Wolf Dogs, Braun Breaker and Baron Corbin taking on Fraser and Axiom for the NXT tag team titles. You had as well Obafemi versus Dijak versus Josh Briggs. This was actually another one that I wanted to put in the honorable mentions, but unfortunately I only make room for 3, and I didn't have any room whatsoever. So I do apologize if I do apologize if you enjoyed that match as much as I did. But that one I feel like was more rushed than anything, but it is what it is. But not only that, we even also had as well on the kickoff show, or the countdown show, sorry, Joe Gacy versus Shawn Spears. So this was a big match for NXT, mainly because of the fact that this was going to be Melo's last NXT PLE before getting called up to the main roster as part of the 2024 WWE draft. And not only that, this was also the first time ever in WWE history that 2 black guys were main eventing an NXT PLE. First time ever. Never before has that ever happened. I don't know if it's ever going to happen again. I'm hoping it does, because it just proves that there are more and more talent that want to main event PLEs like Stand and Deliver, like WrestleMania. And interestingly enough, as crazy, and this might sound crazy, but Triple H was actually asked about that, about talent of color, main eventing and whatnot, and he basically said that he doesn't see color, he sees talent. It's simple. It doesn't matter who you are, where you come from. If you got the talent, you're gonna make your way up to the top. And this was basically that. This proved that it doesn't matter. This match proved that it doesn't matter what your color is, where you come from, what your background is. It doesn't matter. You have talent. These guys stole the damn show, and that's why this definitely deserves to be put in the number 10 spot. Coming in at number 9, Damian Priest versus main event Jey Uso for the World Heavyweight title at Backlash in Lyon, France. And this was probably one of the craziest matches of the entire card, mainly because of Jay's entrance, having the Fireflies come out. It was just insane. It was absolutely insane. And I will say this, though. I will say this. this match proved that Jey Uso deserves to be world champion, and I think 2025 is going to be the year where we will see Jey Uso win singles gold once again. Will he regain the Intercontinental Championship? It's very possible. It is 100% very possible, but we could also see him go after the World Heavyweight title, which is also a possibility. But this was a very strange year, not for Jey, but more for Damian Priest, mainly because of the fact that ever since the moment he had cashed in Money in the Bank at WrestleMania on night 2, it felt like the Judgment Day were drifting apart away from him, and SummerSlam was basically that. They literally turned on him because of the fact that he was getting more publicity, he was getting louder adulation, a much more louder reaction from the fans than Finn Balor ever did when he was one of the bigger baby faces of WWE. And it's weird too. And it's weird that we saw Finn Balor do the deed of turning on Damian Priest, given the fact that we were expecting Dirty Dom to do that, but obviously Dirty Dom turned his back on Mommy in the form of obviously Rhea Ripley, and Mommy was pissed. She wasn't happy. Priest wasn't happy. And we now know next week it ain't gonna be pretty either. I can guarantee you that. Next week when Raw moves to Netflix, it's gonna be insane. But this match, this match too was Damian's, I guess, his test, a big test for Priest. It was a way to test Priest on whether or not he can carry the World Heavyweight Championship to heights never thought possible, and carry the burden that Seth carried when he first became world champion. And honestly, honestly, it did. It proved it. He proved that he can do it. But SummerSlam, it all came crumbling down. But coming in at number 8 is actually a more recent one. It is Nathan Frazer and Axiom versus Miles Bourne and Tavion Heights of the No Quarter Catch crew for the NXT tag titles at NXT Deadline just this past month. Here's the crazy thing, right? Let me paint you guys a picture, right? Nathan Frazer competes in the men's Iron Survivor. Another, literally not even an hour later, he and Axiom have to defend the tag team titles against No Quarter Catch crew, and Axiom does 80% of the work. Nathan Frazer picks up, was he the one that picked up the victory? Yeah. Or actually rather Axiom. Yeah. Axiom was the one that pinned Miles Bourne to retain the NXT tag team titles. And think about this. There were more than at least half a dozen kickouts from the tag team champions themselves. And there was even a time where they were this close, from losing those titles. But that match proved that they are indeed one of the greatest tag teams in NXT history, literally on the same level. You guys see it as the Undisputed Era. And the interesting thing is that Bobby Fish and Kyle O'Reilly, they are one of the most decorated tag teams in the world. Like, there aren't a whole lot of tag teams that can match their prowess, if you will. And I think Frazer and Axiom can definitely set themselves on on that pedestal, and I think 2025 is going to be very interesting for the current tag team champions. But coming in at number 7 is Nia Jax versus Rhea Ripley for the women's world title at Elimination Chamber back in February in Perth, Australia. Can you believe that I actually was able to watch Elimination Chamber, post that video here on the channel, and I was still able to get about 3 hours, at least 2-3 hours sleep after that? Crazy, absolutely crazy. It'll probably happen again if they do more shows in Australia, but it'll be interesting. It'll be interesting. But this was actually a homecoming for Rhea, and more also of a proving ground for Rhea to see if she can handle the pressure of defending her title with her family sitting at ringside, and she did. It literally was one of the biggest matches of the whole card itself, and I believe there were 5 matches on the card. I believe oh my god, I'm trying to remember. I know that there was the women's elimination chamber, there was the men's elimination chamber, and then there was the women's world title match, and then there was the tag titles. There was the tag titles, and then during the countdown show there was the Kabuki Warriors defending the women's tag titles against Candice LeRae and the now recently released Indy Hartwell, and then there was also the Grayson Waller effect with Cody Rhodes and Seth freaking Rollins as the guests, which was insane, absolutely funny, absolutely insane. But here's what I find interesting though, right? I find it interesting that Nia Jax, that Nia Jax got exactly what she wanted, which was a match for the women's world title, knowing full well that she was gonna be in enemy territory, and it wasn't pretty. But the way that Rhea hit the riptide at the end was probably by far one of the best finishes we had ever seen out of her, and I think this year proved that when it came to the women's world championship, Rhea Ripley was the MVP of WWE. But coming in at number 6, Sami Zayn versus Gunther for the Intercontinental Championship, WrestleMania Night 1. So interestingly enough, this was actually the co-main event, and it's weird because the last time prior to this run that Sami had, the last time he was Intercontinental Champion, he called himself a Liberator. Let's just be real on that. But so funny enough, the last 3 WrestleManias that he was in were all bangers. Facing against Kevin Owens, WrestleMania 37, facing against Johnny Knoxville in Dallas, Texas, which who would have ever thought that a dude like Johnny Knoxville will win a match at WrestleMania? Who would have ever thought? Now as far as Bad Bunny goes, I can understand. I can understand Bad Bunny. I can understand that. But Johnny Knoxville, come on, really? And then of course WrestleMania 39, teaming with Kevin Owens, becoming tag team champions, and now this. This was the biggest match for Gunther since he started his reign as champion, because while it is true that yes, he did have a match against Sammy a couple months prior, interestingly enough, this match was basically a match to prove for Sammy to prove to the world that he can do it on his own, because he's had quite a few matches at WrestleMania, but he's lost every single one. He lost in Dallas when he had his WrestleMania debut in 2016. He lost in New Orleans teaming with Kevin Owens. He lost facing off against Kevin Owens and also against Johnny Knoxville. So he's only had 2 victories at WrestleMania, but he's lost every other match that he's had at WrestleMania. And I think also WrestleMania 36 as well. Oh wait, no. I think he won that. I think he won that. If my memory serves right, I'm pretty sure he won that. But interestingly enough, I think because that we were ushering in a new era in WWE, Triple H wanted something completely new. He wanted something different. And I think Sammy winning the Intercontinental title was that different, and it proved that Gunther, with how long he held that title, it proved that he belongs in WWE. And this was a banger. I mean, 5-star instant classic. It's like I said, anytime you see Gunther wrestle a match when a championship is on the line, you know damn well it's gonna be a 5-star classic. Enough said, you guys. Enough said. Speaking of 5-star instant classics featuring Gunther, coming in at number 5, Gunther versus Randy Orton, Bash in Berlin for the World Heavyweight title. I don't even have to say anything else. I mean, this was pretty much a passing of the torch, if you will, where if Randy Orton won, he would become a 15-time world champion. Yeah. Literally, he would become a 15-time world champion, and if Gunther won, which he did, then the legacy of the world heavyweight championship would have been passed on to a man who could definitely take that title to heights never thought possible. And as crazy as it sounds, I think we're gonna see Gunther take the world title into WrestleMania. I think we're gonna be seeing it. And I'm actually glad that match actually took place, because last time they faced off, it was only by a technicality, and Gunther needed a legitimate victory over the Viper as a way to prove to the world that he can win on his own terms and not by some bullshit technicality. But coming in at number 4, Cody Rhodes, AJ Styles, the WWE title, Backlash, Lyon, France. Just like with Damian Priest, this was also a test for Cody Rhodes. Think about this. He had just became WWE champion, defeating Roman Reigns. AJ Styles becomes Cody's first televised challenger. The perfect test, the perfect man to test Cody Rhodes on whether or not he can remain champion. And crazy enough, Cody Rhodes won. Cody Rhodes proved that he can remain WWE champion under pressure. And as we enter 2025, the question becomes, has the pressure gone to him? And as crazy as it sounds, I don't think it has. I think once we get to WrestleMania 41 in Vegas, that right there will be Cody's true test. And the question becomes, who will Cody face at WrestleMania? No one knows. But But before he can get to Mania, he has to get past the Royal Rumble and that ladder match. But I think this was a massive matchup, one of the biggest main events we had ever seen for the WWE title. And I think AJ, I think that this was also another passing of the torch for AJ, because of the fact that he had been in WWE for 8 years and has dominated ever since. So this was absolutely insane. But coming in at number 3, these last 3 bangers. 5-star instant classics. Coming in at number 3, Lyra Valkyria versus Roxanne Perez for the NXT Women's title. NXT Stand and Deliver on the eve of night 1 of WrestleMania. Obviously we know that Roxanne Perez never lost the NXT Women's title. In fact, she had to relinquish it because of the fact that she passed out after her match with Meiko Satomura, which was a banger. This was the match. This was a match that Roxanne needed. She needed this match more than anything else. And interestingly enough, this was also going to be Lyra's last NXT PLE before making the move over to the main roster as part of the WWE draft. And ever since Lyra came, went to Raw, she's proven herself. She's proven herself as a huge threat, not only to the entire women's division, but also to the women's world champion, and to whoever becomes the inaugural women's intercontinental champion in a couple of weeks when they head to San Jose. So with Roxanne, this whole year Roxanne has been nothing short of absolutely dominant, and this match was the start of that. Not much else to say. And as crazy as it sounds, I think as far as like who became the true MVP of NXT in 2024, hands down, that honor definitely belongs to Roxanne Perez. Coming in at number 2 is Seth freaking Rollins and the American Nightmare Cody Rhodes versus The Rock and Roman Reigns of the Bloodline, WrestleMania 40 Night 1. This was one of the biggest matches in wrestling history. You had not 1, not 2, not 3, but all 4 men. You have 4 Royal Rumble winners. All 4 men, former tag team champions. All 4 men, former Intercontinental champions. All current / former world champions going at it for one reason and one reason only. The fate of the future of the WWE. And it became abundantly clear that Seth and Cody needed this win, and in spite of the loss for night 1, Seth Rollins literally made good on his word, and he became Cody's shield, bringing in the Kevlar on night 2, costing Roman Reigns the WWE title. And this was by far one of the most insane matches we had ever seen. Absolutely insane. The Rock literally manipulated the match into their own favor to ensure that the Bloodline won, but it all backfired in the end on night 2. But coming in at number 1, and it is the most obvious, CM Punk, Drew McIntyre, inside Hell in a Cell at Bad Blood. Do I even have to say anything else? I don't think I do. I mean, I think, in fact, in my opinion, this was by far one of the most intense and one of the most horrific Hell in a Cell matches we had ever seen. This was a rivalry that spans over a decade. And it boiled over inside Hell in a Cell, and now McIntyre wants revenge against CM Punk again. So this proved that Drew McIntyre literally was the MVP of 2024, and as far as 2025 goes, there's no telling what can happen next. But with that being said, that will do it for the final video of 2024. Hopefully you guys enjoyed. If you did, make sure you guys smash that thumbs up button. If you guys are new to the channel and you guys want more top 10 videos in the future, then make sure you guys subscribe to the channel, turn on the notification bell, and as always, make sure you guys are following me on all of my social media. All of my ads will be in the description below, as will the info to my fan mail. It will also be in the description as well. And on that, this is your boy Nash, signing out.